But for the person who may be watching tonight, who's like, okay, that sounds good, but we're in a different regime. Like, what are some practical solutions to push back on DEI and some of these like oppressive measures that he's been doing? Because it feels like he's a mad king with no one there to control him.
I love this question because some of where I believe our biggest strengths are across the diaspora, which is I kind of just leaned into that from an addition and multiplication standpoint. If some of the African leaders say, our line in the sand is if you think that Black people aren't talented and if we aren't good enough to make decisions and develop strategies, we can't do business with America, right? We are not going to be in business with somebody who sees our brother and sister, our sibling, as inadequate, as inept, as unqualified. We're not going. Then that means you're unqualified to do business here. Now I've been asking this, y'all have been throwing this around a lot. I've been like, man, that's going to be tough. But I think what we have to understand is this is an administration that only cares about dollars and cents, even at the expense of humanity. So we got to meet them where it hurts. They don't like bad headlines, but they'll tolerate those. What they really can't handle is losing in business and economically. So they're
Yeah.
saying stuff and then walking it back when they really understand the consequences. I think those are some of the things that we have to see from Asian countries, from African countries, from Latin countries. We have to see that. Otherwise, I don't know how the circumstances change. We can continue to force businesses where we spend our money. We have, I think, how much buying power do we have now? 1.3, 1.5 trillion
Yeah,
in buying
1.5.
power. And if you look at that, we should be forcing people to do different. I'm shouting out Reverend Jamal Bryant, who from Ash Wednesday till Easter Sunday, it probably should continue. There's been a Target fast. People have been pushing back on Target. We should do that with multiple brands. That is a part of our civil rights tradition. We've had a lot of Black leaders that led in this space, from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King to Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., right? So we should be looking at ways that we can withhold our resources. If they can't respect us, certainly they can't respect our dollar. And we need to be mobilizing with folks throughout the diaspora about how to restrict this country from doing business if you cannot look out for folks who look like them.
So, what is the threat of white supremacy in America right now? There's a whole thing called the manosphere, and there's been a lot of
Red
public.
pill.
Even his cabinet is pretty much 99% white men. Like, there's been an uptick in rhetoric and open support for extreme right wing type of ideology, right? So, how far can this thing go, and what is the threat of that right now in the United States of America?
Yeah, I think it is going to go as far as we let it. We cannot sanitize these people. I don't care if they look like us or not. And y'all understand, there are people right now on cleanup tours trying to find themselves back in a fold they were never in, by the way, even if they benefited from some of our work. We have to be very mindful of what we tolerate. I think it's one thing to be in conversation with people. I think it's another thing to neutralize or to sanitize what they're saying to make them feel okay about saying something racist or saying something that's anti-Black or saying something that's harmful to our people, dividing Black women and Black men in this country. We shouldn't allow for that. So I think that the biggest thing we can do right now is to call things to the carpet and tell the truth. I think that we have to find ourselves in uncomfortable spaces in our own community, talking, even like we're doing right now. Like you're like, we don't really do politics like that, but we're gonna talk about it anyway. We're gonna have some uncomfortable conversations so we can find common ground. I don't know how we see shifts without conversations and being open to change. What I do know is there's a lot that we've gotten right, but there's so much more that we've gotten wrong, and we can't bridge those gaps unless we're in conversation.
But all right, here's my counterpoint, right? As
Yeah.
a little bit more radical person,
How
there's
you
no.
know?
You're right. I don't know,
See?
but uh, a lot of people feel like there is no common ground. Like
Mhm.
we've been trying to find common ground for 600
For
years.
60 years, yeah.
Like it's not gonna happen. It's like definition of insanity trying to like do the same thing over and over again. It's like okay, certain people going to think that the way that they think, and that's 100%. So what is the action plan to either separate or operate within that system? Because this common ground thing is not going to happen, right?
Okay,
Like
so now I'm pushed back on you. I am sorry if it sounds like I was saying common ground with a white supremacist. I am not saying that. I'm talking about finding common ground with us.
Okay.
Us, right? And I'm saying there are some people who are us that are skin folk and not kin folk, so they can stay over there. I ain't
Such as
right.
put a
So I'm
name on that
trying out
bullet.
ABD. It was unclear. What'd you
Put a
say?
name on that bullet, Angela.
You said put a name on it. I got a list. Where you want me to
Oh,
start? I can't say I got a name on a bullet because you know they'll deport my ass. We talking about that right now.
okay, got you. Well,
Okay,
the
so
ones
let's
that look like us. That's not like us.
and a philosophical bullet, not a figurative
Got
bullet,
you.
not a literal
Yeah.
bullet. Anyway, y'all know who you are, Candace Owens. And so I think that the most important thing that we have to understand is that we have to look out for each other, that our operating principle has to be do no harm. You know, our operating principle has to be loving on one another and creating space and opportunity for one another. Rashad, you mentioned it earlier, but we're doing a state of the people power tour for that reason. We're going into community and we're not saying, hey, y'all need to go vote. Hey, y'all better come do. That's not even it. We're going in to say, what do you need? How can we be of service to you? How can we learn to exchange the different gifts that we have to grow a better, tighter, and stronger community in multiple cities? We're going to do it in 10 cities. We start in Atlanta on April 26th. And it's State of the People Power Tour because we do have the power. I've been waking up every morning and say, God, I thank you. We have everything we need. And I think that's where we have to begin. If we can tap into the beautiful innovation and talent of Black folks, we're going to be good. And I think that's really where we got to begin right now. We're going to rally folks too, but we're starting with just let's serve together. Let's listen together. Let's teach together. Let's push forward together. And let's keep growing our coalition. Like there's a lot of divides in our community. I want to heal those first before I'm even crossing over to white folks. Like I hope they figure it out. They need to be talking to their uncles, cousins, sisters, aunties, all them that voted for Donald Trump and put us in this hell. That's up to them. Like they better not say nothing to me about no Black women or no Black man and what they didn't do. Y'all handle y'all people. I'm handling mine.
How much time do we have to kind of course correct before everyone should just pack their shit and go to Ghana?
First of all, I am definitely down to go to Ghana. I definitely want to get
Because
my
it's
dual
looking spooky.
citizenship. Huh?
It's looking spooky.
You know, it's been spooky. And I think
Yeah.
that's the point. Like, I'm telling y'all, the reason why I'm focused so much even on the State of the People Power Tour is because I believe we are all we have. I think that that's always been the case, but we're being forced to reckon with that in ways that we haven't for a really long time. I am concerned about going out of the country and coming back in. You know, they're looking at cell phones, trying to see what you've said. You know, we got signal threads popping. Like, you know, it's a lot going on right now. So I'm worried about that. I think that it is smart for African people to try to build bridges with the continent, period. Regardless if it was spooky or not, it shouldn't take crisis for us to work together, for us to talk, for us to figure out how we move forward. I don't understand that. I wasn't raised in that. So it's always plagued me that that's been a thing for us. But yeah, I think that we should be moving like we're in crisis because we are. But I also think we should move like we have the answers because we do. Even if I don't have the specific answer myself, I know I can call Rashad. I know I can call Ian. I know I can reach out to Leonard. I know I can tap Roland. I know I can ask Joy. We're too resourced. Or the sister from the church, or you know, some other community, or we are too resourced to think that we can't figure it out.